Welcome, everyone, to Insightful Accountants QB Talks for February 2025. My name is William Murphy, but almost all of you know me as Murph. Today, I'm joined by Charles Nagel, the founder and chief technology officer of Qvinci, and Brad Adams, who is the CEO of Qvinci. We will not only discuss but see live demonstrations of some of Qvinci's reporting and business intelligence features that you will absolutely not find inside QuickBooks, no matter what the version. But before I ask Brad to start our presentation off this afternoon, I've got some housekeeping that Gary asked me to make certain I got accomplished. The first is a poll. We want to know if you've heard about Be Insightful premium content. So, Matt, go ahead and launch that poll. We offer 9 training tracks from speakers like myself and Kelly Parks, Christine Gervais, Kyle Turriff, and many others, with access to more than 36 CPE credit hours per year, exclusively for members, on a variety of year-round premium content. If you want to learn more, simply answer yes to the poll. We're going to wait about 15 more seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you for participating in the poll. This webinar today is CPE eligible. You must be present for 50 minutes and you must answer at least 3 of the polling questions. If you meet these criteria, we'll send you a certificate within 24 hours. If you have questions during the webinar, you can add them to the question and answer window. You'll receive an email following this event with a link to the recording of the archive, which is on the YouTube channel. And also, Matt will be posting a drop link in the chat window to give you an opportunity to download the slide deck in PDF form. Lastly, after the event, we'll also have a brief survey once it's completely over that'll pop up on your screen asking you how you think the event went today. Okay, Brad, I'm ready for you to go ahead and kick off today's actual presentation on some of the many features found in Qvinci you can't find in QuickBooks.
Well, thank you, Murph. I appreciate it. And thank you, Charles, for showing up and for both of you for being such gracious hosts. Today, we're going to talk about a few things. We've already went through the background. We're going to talk about why is advisory service important to accountants. Then we're going to go into 3 areas. Charles is going to examine the steps necessary to prepare consolidated reports in BI using Qvinci's patented account mapping solution, not available in QuickBooks. Then we're going to go to key Qvinci capabilities, not available in QuickBooks, and Qvinci reporting in BI, not available in QuickBooks, and also give you a short introduction to the Qvinci Turnkey Advisor Program to help you jumpstart your advisory services, also not available in QuickBooks. So let's talk about the challenges faced by accounting firms, okay? First of all, it's all about the data. It's the difficulty in getting consolidated standardized data. It's limited advisory tools, okay, in QuickBooks and everywhere else. It's an over-reliance on manual processes. It's basically a lack of resources, all right? Here, this is a plug for Qvinci, and a shameless plug, but these are some of the accounting firms that trust Qvinci. Just thought I'd let you know that we've been around, we've been doing this for a while now, and I think that we have a good track record. All right. Let's talk about unlocking growth. We've done some research in Qvinci, quite a lot of research, as a matter of fact, and we talk about what accountants want. They want more revenue per client. Advisory services, 20 to 50% increase. Higher hourly rates, 100 to 300 more per hour for advisory services. Higher client spend, 10 to 15 more annually for advisory services, and increased client retention, 120% longer. All right. Next, we're going to talk about the growing demand for advisory services. Okay. There's a recent study out there that shows that 80% of accounting firms are actively looking to incorporate, jumpstart, or scale their advisory services. It is a big thing. Well, we're going to show you today not only the tools on how to do that, but the Qvinci Turnkey Advisor Program and how you can jumpstart it. All right, we're going to tie all this stuff together with this push-pull dynamic to catalyze advisory services. And all the tools that Charles is going to go over today are going to do two things. The push, which is the KPI scorecard and other BI that clients can easily understand with simple green and red ratios, charts, and graphs. And what does it do? It motivates or pushes your clients to reach out to you, their accountant or trusted advisor, to seek corrective help. The pull, all right? A single view of all clients' financial wellness on the Qvinci client wellness dashboard, green and red ratios. What does that do? Well, it motivates you, the accountant, to contact your clients and pull them into your advisory practice. So if you got the clients calling you and you calling the clients, you have the perfect storm. Okay, why does not the competition measure up? Well, it's very simple. Lack of the data, lack of consolidation of multiple financial files, lack of automation, limited or canned reporting, limited of meaningful business intelligence that people can understand and act on, and just a heavy reliance on Microsoft Excel. Spreadsheets are great, but once you get to the point of having to rely on spreadsheets to manipulate your data and map your data, you're fighting a losing battle. All right, that's we kind of briefly went over the why, or the introduction, and let's go polling question number 1. What financial reporting and business intelligence technologies do you use today to help your clients? QuickBooks, Microsoft Excel, other third party, both A and B.
Let's give this about 20 more seconds. This is a pretty easy question, folks. So let's count it down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Matt, you want to show us the results?
Okay. Sure. Oh, interesting. Excel
QuickBooks and Excel.
Yeah. Okay. Well, listen. Let's go to move on to the next section here, and we're going to ask Charles to talk about the steps required to prepare consolidated reports and BI using Qvinci's automated patented account solution, because we believe that everything starts with an automated access to near real-time data. And if we'll go here to this next one, Charles, why don't you talk about the account client segments and use cases?
Yeah, so thanks, Brad. Real briefly, we group clients into various types, franchises. This is all about franchises, multi-entities, nonprofits, and what we call like kinds. And they're really the same paradigm, a plurality of financial files that need to be brought together for meaningful reporting, business intelligence, that kind of thing. And these all fall, and we'll discuss like kinds here in just a minute. Now, when you have all these types of multis, if you will, you're going to have standardized reporting templates. I'll give you an example. It's impossible to support clients if you're going to do a one-off for every one of them. Open a QuickBooks file, dump the data out, put it in Excel, try to put them together. That doesn't work. You need standardized type reporting that will automatically run. You got to be able to consolidate, and to consolidate, you got all these bullets. I'm not going to talk about each bullet, but consolidate, not just consolidating P&Ls, but benchmarking and ranking data, right? And you got to be able to customize. We have tens of thousands of clients, and Qvinci is an authoring tool. And while we have well over 200 reports in our gallery that will probably solve for most of your stuff, a lot of the time clients want a unique template. And again, You can make a unique template and have it automatically, as we say, hydrate, populate with the data across one-to-N entities. And you got to turn all that into business intelligence. So look at the left-hand side and draw a spider graph to the right-hand side. Now, there's one interesting thing on this deck that has to do with accountants, and that's like kinds. We have that one at the top. You see at the top, HDA Group? It's an accounting firm. They only deal with dentists. And we can consolidate and peer benchmark and rank against anonymously a single dentist against the others, as an example. We call them like kinds. So if you have a bunch of people in a certain industry, you have an ecosystem that you can use for benchmarking and ranking. So think about this, if you want to go after franchises and multi-entities and nonprofits and like kinds, you need the same core tools to service those type of entities. Brad, next slide.
Right.
So
Okay,
these are the required steps. You have to be able to do this to handle multi-entities. You have to. And like I said, we have the patents on this. You got to automatically collect the data. You got to sync it out of QuickBooks On and Zero and desktop and have Excel uploads. You got to be able to automatically collect that data. And you got to be able to map it into a standard chart of accounts. Primary example, Dices Lexington, 86 locations, been in business for centuries. Consolidating their native chart of accounts across 86 locations was almost 900 lines long for their P&L. Because you only need 10 different accounts in each one of these things to have an astronomically large P&L. So you got to be able to map it into a standard. And then you have to be able to do entity, location, and class level reporting because you're going to want to do these things side by side, as an example. And then from there, you want to be able to, then you can also do consolidated reporting. You can do benchmark reporting. But if you can't do the first three, you can't do the last two. It's just impossible. And then when you have all that data, you have an authoring tool like Qvinci, you can do business intelligence, which turns the huge pile of numbers into decision-making information. And you can also blend non-financial data with that financial data. We're going to see that later on, how important that is. It's not just about, clients have more than just financial data in their ecosystem. You're going to want to blend financial data with non-financial data. Brad, let's go to the next slide.
okay.
So this is a pictogram describing what I just had on those first two bullets. Imagine with me down at the bottom, you got client 1 through client 1000, client files out there. Online, desktop, zero, who knows what, okay? You can see it, I got zero in Excel and a zero there. And have all these users at the top, accountant 1, bookkeeper 1, accountant N, bookkeeper, managers, whatever, people that need to use this data, and it's got to ultimately go to the client. The accountant needs to deliver the business intelligence and reports to the client. Well, you might have to pull this data from 5 files because the client's got 5 files. So you need a solution that will automatically capture the data at the bottom, bring it into the cloud, and put it in a standard format so these users up here can service their clients. Bill, did you have something you want to weigh in on this?
Well, yeah, Charles, y'all are totally unique in the ability to take not only QuickBooks files, but these other kinds of files, like you said, from Zero and Excel, and blend all that data together. And nobody else does that. You'd have to have spreadsheet after spreadsheet to try to do that if you didn't have Qvinci.
Well, yeah, and to further that, we have franchises that have 4,000 locations, and those are all independent operators, right?
Right.
And those guys may one guy's running 10 copies of QuickBooks Desktop, and another guy's, he's running Excel, and another guy in QuickBooks Online. It's all over the place. So you need a solution that can, like we're saying, can collect it from everywhere and centralize it, standardize it, and then let you report and use business intelligence. Brad, let's go to the next slide. So to summarize the capabilities, automatic data collection, like we just saw, mapping into a standard. I'm going to show you what ours looks like. Automated reporting, I'm going to show you what that looks like. Blending data together, and we'll talk a little bit about, I'll show you a report that actually blends non-FI with FI data, and it's actually used in the real world, okay? And then business intelligence is all about business intelligence, realistically, because what the client wants is something they can make decisions with. You just give them a trailing 12-month report, they can't see trends, okay? So we got to turn, once you can do the first 4 of these things, business intelligence is a possibility if you have an authoring tool like Qvinci. Right, let's go to that next slide.
All right. Well, listen, thanks, Charles, for walking us through those steps. And thanks, Wes, for some great questions regarding why this capability is so important businesses and those accountants that represent them, and how it's only available in Qvinci. Next, we're going to dive into some specific capabilities of not found in QuickBooks, and we're going to go to this first slide, an example of a custom template using non-financial, and I'm going to turn it over to Charles. And if Murph has any questions, he could add them in there. But go ahead, Charles.
Okay, so I actually designed this template for a client, and they use it today. And so what if you look at here, and this is kind of keep this in your head. Qvinci is a templating system. You create a template and then select the entities and periods you want to run it across. Select 20 entities, going to be consolidated. Select one, going to be one. So how do we get this data? So we got revenue. So we have a revenue calculation period over period, and we're looking at, and we have a math formula in there, just like Excel, that tells you how many months of cash do you have with the amount you have in the bank. And then on the right-hand side, you'll see that we have revenue, et cetera, so forth. Now, this is a dental thing. What dentists really like is they want to know how much money they make per day, literally, believe it or not. So you can see the last net income days open per week is 5. We use a non-financial upload for every location. I'm open 5 days a week. Your revenue per day, your expenses per day, your net income per day, all calculations. But this same template will run for every one of these clients that are dental clients. And down below is where we do comparisons and peer benchmarking. So what dentists care about are basically those categories there, office supply, dental materials, lab costs, or so forth. And we have an optimum range. And the optimum range was established by the accountant because he knows what his clients do. And he got a range of 6% to 8%. And this, see, that column says peer group. That's the average of all the other dentists that accounting firm is servicing. That's their average, 10%. And then your actual average in the last 2 columns. Is this powerful? Yes, it's extremely powerful. When my average is much higher than what the rest of the peer group that is like me, I know where to focus my attention. And if it's red, it needs your attention because it's bad. You are higher than you're out of the range. And then we have a forecasting location. If you keep doing what you've been doing, this is what you're going to be like in 12 months. It's a very fast little, and this is a template that you would run blending FI, non-FI. And this is just an example because there's an unlimited opportunity to build business intelligence, mingling financial and non-financial data. Brad, back to you.
Thank you, Charles. And we're going to move on to an additional feature that Qvinci now has that no one has, which is non-Sunday aligned weekly reporting with customizable accounting calendars. Charles, why don't you kind of talk a little bit about that and why it's so important?
Right. So restaurants, manufacturing, all the things that we have here, they like to do reporting that's not Sunday through Saturday. They like weekly reporting. They'll look at monthly reporting. They like weekly reporting and not Sunday through Saturday. They like to keep the weekends together, which is Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We call it non-Sunday aligned reporting. And in Qvinci, you can create what's called an accounting calendar. And you'll say, the first day of my period is January the 6th. That turns out to be a Friday. So your reporting is going to be Friday through Thursday. And it turns out restaurants like that. And so do many other industries. But you can't do that in QuickBooks. I mean, it's really hard to do in QuickBooks, and certainly doing it across 25 or 50, 200 locations, that's impossible. So what we allow you to do is to create the weekly reporting that's non-Sunday aligned if you desire that. And then you can select the periods, 445, 454, 13-week periods, okay? And I'll show you one of these later on. So what this solves for is it solves for industry, things that certain industries desire. Well, Qvinci's Qvinci's automatically collecting that data. It's automatically bringing it in, okay? It automatically knows the daily transactions, so it can roll up this data into the periods and segments that you desire. And so if you're going to go out and consult or advise for a restaurant, you're speaking their language, right?
Okay, Charles, are you going to do the in-app presentation of this now or later in the program?
I'll just a little bit later on. I'm going to add that
Okay.
part of my presentation.
Not a problem. I thought so. I just wanted to make sure. Okay, we kind of finished the capabilities, and we're going to move into the reporting next. But before we do, let's do a second polling question. And that second polling question is, Do you have clients or prospects who could benefit from some easy to use, forward looking features, reporting, and business intelligence tools like you see today, not available in QuickBooks?
This is a yes, no question, folks, so it shouldn't take you an hour. And so we're going to count it down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get that answer in for CPE. And 77% say, yeah, they need some of these tools.
Great, great. All right. All right. To tie in, we talked about the data in the beginning and how it's important to get the data. Then we looked at the capabilities, and Charles just showed you one of his customizable reports. And the real key differentiator there is that when you use a tool like Qvinci, you just go to that report because all the data is automatically done for you in the background. If you don't have a tool like Qvinci, you may spend hours, if not days, building the data set to get that. And hopefully, you don't have any errors. And that's how we're going to tie those together. So let's move on to the next a big section of this presentation, which is Qvinci reporting and business intelligence not found in QuickBooks. We're going to talk about 4 key topics: benchmarking and ranking, performance and dashboards, break-even analysis, and standardization of reporting. And just want everyone to know that the appendix that we're not going to go over today has a lot more reports because we have a 200 of them in our gallery, but we only have time to go over some of the more notable ones today. So, Charles, I think you're going to grab the screen now, and Charles is going to go in app and talk about each one of these reports.
Do you see my screen at this point?
Yep.
Okay. So we have a lot of ground to cover. I'm going to move quickly. It's about 3 minutes per section, but let's go
Let me
ahead and
just
cover
say that we're about 5 minutes ahead of schedule, so you've got a little extra time.
Oh, good. So thank you, Bill. So I'm in Qvinci right now, okay? And we can't touch on all parts of Qvinci, but let's look at some of the specific reporting things. Now, we did talk about non-Sunday aligned reporting. And here's an example of a non-Sunday aligned report using a template in Qvinci. You can see that it ends on February the 13th. And February the 13th is a Thursday. And this is a different entity, QuickBooks Online 0. And so all I have to do is come into Qvinci, into our gallery, okay, like this, and I can search for P&L, find what I'm looking for here. And I got it pinned right here. And I can actually run this report, show me a P&L by entity for the last 4 weeks. You can also do things, I'm going to do something that's really quick here. We call this just get the data, right? So I select my entities, and I got my 3 entities, QuickBooks Online, and 0, let's say. Those are different types of files. Give me a P&L. I want it by week for the last 4 weeks. Restaurants care about this. Build a report. There it is. Non-Sunday aligned weekly reporting consolidated across 3 entities in the standard chart of accounts of my choosing. That quickly. In fact, we even tell you how quick that is because it was 433 milliseconds right there. So this shows the ability to collect the data, standardize it, and then let you report on one, many, or all entities. If I wanted to change reports for baseline reports, then I can go select a different entity over here or select a different report, select periods, all that kind of thing. You'll be able to pick and choose the dates, the entities that you want. Now, what we've done is
If you were trying to do this just from QuickBooks and 0 reports and then ship it into Excel, you'd probably spend 4.33 days putting it together.
Oh, yeah. Let's say that you have a client on 13-week reporting. Show me a report by entity for the last 13 weeks, non-Sunday aligned. There you go. So you can service companies. We do service companies that have thousands of entities because you can report one, many, or all. Our templating system runs on one, many, or all. So where we are now, we're getting to the part where Brad has talked about the advanced reporting capabilities. And in our gallery, we have hundreds of predefined templates ready for you to use, 210 of them exact. And it'll solve 90% of your reporting needs, but you can customize them. And our authoring tool looks, plays, smells like Excel. If you know Excel, you're right at home in Qvinci. And we built these for you. So I'm going to show you some designs that we've already done that Brad was referencing. So this is the by entity, last 4 or 5 week period by entity. I ran it before we started here, okay? Normally what I would do is I would come over here and I would find the report that I want. Again, I would come down here and say, you know, give me that performance dashboard. Click the preview button, okay? And in this case, it's the ranking report. I'm sorry. Click the ranking report. And here's this new report. We call it the ranking report. And what it does, it takes all the entities that you're reporting on, whether they're like kinds or they're all a nonprofit or they're all a wholly owned entity, and puts them together. I've got a little bit bigger one here that has 36 locations in it. Let's see how this works and how you would use it as an advisor. Now, the one thing that makes it really, really valuable with Qvinci is if you send a client a static P&L and balance sheets on a PDF, you know, they can look at it. But what you can do with Qvinci is you can package those up and send them to them, and they're dynamic. In other words, the client can play with them. And I'm going to show you how you do it. And you can mark this up. So I have taken that report and I've dumped it to Excel. This is an Excel export of the ranking report I'm going to send to my client. This is the average of all the locations. If I'm sending this to a franchisor, I might send him the whole thing. If I only am working with location 13, I would eliminate these other ones and only send 13. What it shows is, for this fiscal year, because that's the period I want, multiple periods, the top 10%, top 20%, and the average across all these units and how they're doing. And I've used this report actually with a company to turn them around. And what do I care about? Well, you know what? I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna take cost of goods and I'm gonna sort this from largest to smallest. The average cost of goods across all units is 38.2%, and these guys are not that. So I'm going to take these as the advisor, and I'm going to highlight these and go all the way down till I find around 38.2, and I'm going to turn them yellow. And I might do the same thing with profit. I'm going to come over here to net income, and I'm going to sort these smallest to largest. These are terrible. That one's bad too. I'm going to mark that up as yellow. I can put notes in it. It's Excel. And you can send it to the client. And when you send it to the client, they can sort these and run these things the way they want. And there's custom fields over there. You can see we got marketing over here, local marketing spend, that kind of thing. You can pick and choose custom accounts out of the standard chart of accounts to report across 1 to N units, hundreds of units. Now you're delivering business intelligence to the client of what to focus on, not just sending them a dumb report and making them dig it out. So this is an example of the kinds of things that can be done in Qvinci, and I want to point this out. Notice that the math, like Excel, that was done in Qvinci, exports to the file. It's an intelligent file. It's like you did it in Excel without having to do it in Excel. Okay? So so all of Qvinci really functions that way. Let's take a look at the next one. Now we want to get into more business intelligence. We call it the performance dashboard. It's one of them. And you'll see that in Qvinci, we are in Qvinci now. It's got multiple tabs, just like Excel, because our authoring tool is interchangeable with Excel. And so we're going to set, this will give you the last 12 months, the fiscal year over year, if you will. I can pick 1 month, 2 months. I can multi-select and say, look, I only want to send this for the first 3 months of last year. Or I can select them all: revenue, gross profit, expense, net income. Okay. The next page on this would be the top 10. The top 10 is the top 10 accounts for income for the month, the quarter, fiscal year, and prior fiscal year, because I've selected top 10 income. And it shows the top 10 accounts for these various periods, and here's the summary. And if you want to look at COGS, well, you'll just do COGS. If you want to look at expenses, you'll just do expenses. But you're giving them business intelligence of what to focus on. Now this thing it's actionable. The client can play with it. He can click around. He can get a lot of business intelligence, and he knows what to focus on. I mean, legal and professional is not near as important as dentist salary. That's obviously a big one. So this is automatically generated, and I'm going to point this out. Let's say that you're servicing a multi-unit owner, and he has 17 files. Select all 17 files and export this report, and this is consolidated across 17 entities. Bill, what are your thoughts about You can't do this in QuickBooks, obviously. What are your
You
thoughts
can't
about
do
doing
this.
this?
You can't do this in QuickBooks. And again, you can pull data out of any of these sources, but by the time you try to match it up, you try to get it to a single nomenclature in terms of the chart of accounts. You try to then put it all together. You've spent days and hours, and we all know that we're trying to do more for our clients, but we realize we can't just keep charging them more and more. So that's why so many advisors are packaging services and bundling them together under a singular price. And you've got to have a tool that'll do it quickly, not spend days of man hours.
Yeah, let me address that point real quick. Everything you see here, all these templates can be packaged. We call them packaging. And this is what most of our clients do. They have all these templates they like and they want to deliver to their clients, and they only have one package. This is going to sound weird, but there's only one package that they use for everybody. They select the entity or entities, they click download, and it puts it together like this using those accounts and those numbers. But they don't go create this stuff every month. They simply log in, select the client, click download. Select another client, click download. Select another 5 files because there's a click download. Same templates will run across the plurality of clients. Let's look at another dashboard. So this is another performance dashboard. It's got multiple tabs on the bottom, the monthly, 3-month, and fiscal year to date. This one's very dynamic. So we're looking at fiscal year to date, and this is 2025. So our fiscal year is only January because February hasn't closed yet because we're in February still. If we were in May, this would be January through May. And I can select this year, last year, the prior year. If I want to do months, I can select this month. I am looking at the different months. I just run this and download send it to the client. Now, what does this do for me? It shows me, so all these are selectable. We have these accounts pre-populated for you, but I don't really care about long-term liabilities. So, I'm going to change it to something I care about. And I'll go down here and look at x-ray costs. What are we looking at? We're looking at for November, it's 346. This is your last 12-month trend. And this is how November compares to the prior month. Find red, fix red. November is 3.3% down, worse on cost of goods than it was in October. Gross profits up, expenses are trending well, and you can see what you do here. And this all works the same way. Now, when you dump this to Excel, you're going to send this to the client as part of a package. The package will automatically dump to Excel, but let's say that I want to dump this to Excel. I could literally go export this to Excel, okay, and it'll be in Excel, and it will play just like this in Excel. Now I'm delivering trending. I'm interpreting the data for the client. I haven't had to do anything. This will take you all of 10 seconds to run, 15 seconds to download, and you'll send it to your client. And you're in great shape. So this is the kind of things that once you can do all those foundational things we were talking about, you can turn the pile of numbers into business intelligence moving forward. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and let it off with that, Brad. At this point, this is the first segment. I'm going to turn it back over to you for continuing with the deck. And I don't know if you have other questions as well, or pulling questions, but
okay, yeah. Let me grab this the screen, and we'll get back to where we were.
Yeah, I'll come back to the break-even analysis tool in the next segment.
Okay, that's good. That's good. All right. Well, listen. That's thank you, Charles, for that great presentation, and Murph for the great questions. Before we go into the QTAP program, we have the third polling question, which is: what is the biggest obstacle preventing you and your firm from offering more advanced reporting, forecasting, and business intelligence advisory services discussed in this webinar? It's lack of know-how, lack of resources, lack of vendor support, lack of client demand. Please log your answer.
And folks, while y'all are doing that, let me just mention there was a question about does Qvinci work with QuickBooks Desktop? And the answer is absolutely yes. And you don't have to send the data. You get it set up so that it actually will go pull the data out on a time schedule that you determine to be appropriate, once a day, twice a day, etc. And then you have your QuickBooks desktop data there when you're ready to run your reports.
Right.
And Matt, let's see these results because everybody should have answered by now. And so lack of client demand was number one.
We're going to show you how in the next series, Murph, how to use a simple Qvinci Turnkey Advisor program to jumpstart your turnkey advisors and maybe get some client demand. Because there was a large section of lack of resources as well, which I think we've already answered that question. Okay, next, thanks guys for a great presentation. And the next thing we're going to do is go over the Qvinci Turnkey Advisor Program. Okay, and this is all about taking all these advisory tools, our automated data process, and our great tools that Charles went over, and how do we efficiently and profitably use those tools to jumpstart or scale our advisory services. So we're going to go over a couple of slides, and then I'm going to turn it over to Charles to go in app. First thing we're going to talk about is what are our program's objectives? We want value-added insights that clients can understand and act on. Okay, which we talked about, the predictive red and green ratios, charts and graphs, trend analysis. That's the old push-pull paradigm we talked about earlier. How to work smarter, not harder. Okay, Charles, I think, showed you, we say 30 seconds to generate a report. He did it in 4.3 milliseconds. And I think Murph indicated that if he did it manually, it'd take 4.3 days. The next thing is Qvinci provides resources you need to jumpstart your advisory services. And if you remember from the polling question, that was one of the concerns, the resources. We provide the resources all the way to a marketing kit to help you market this thing to your staff, to your customers, and to your prospects. Finally, our rockstar customer success team is there to help you every step of the way. We're going to help you on board, we're going to train you, and we're going to be there to answer questions. The next thing we're going to talk about before we actually get into it is the advisory life cycle. And the advisory life cycle we look as a 5-step process. And the 5-step process is, number one, review the metrics, our advisory portal. Number two, generate the reports, our automated KPI scorecard and financial reporting. And step three, spread the word with our advisory and marketing kit. And we advise our customers to stick to step 1, 2, and 3, which is going to be the Qvinci Turnkey Advisor Program, and get that pretty well implemented in your system. Then you go to steps 4 and 5, which are more advanced features to create forecasts and what-if analysis and vertical market benchmarking, and more advanced tools. But we view that as the whole life cycle. But today we're going to focus on the QTAP program, which is steps 1, 2, and 3. And Charles, I'm going to turn this over to you, and we're going to go in app to show you about our Turnkey Advisor Program.
Okay, I'll take the screen.
Okay.
Should be there now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the first one is to review the metrics. This is what we call the portal. When you come into Qvinci, you log into Qvinci, you will land on this screen. These are all your clients. These are all their files. All these cells over here are hot, and they've already been, these are pre-calculations. You can view the general ledger. You can create JEs and push them back into the QuickBooks file without ever opening a QuickBooks file. Another advanced reporting capability. What I want to do is I want to scan for red here. These are a bunch of fictitious QuickBooks files down here. And I find Diocese of Trinity, okay, St. Peter's Catholic Church, net income is 14% off month over month. I could change the periods to do same period last year, 3 months over 3 months, fiscal year over year, but I'm just trying to interrogate the data. I'm just looking at my clients, health and wellness. If I click that cell, a card comes up and says, okay, well, here's what 14% is. Your net income was this in January, and it was that in December. I wonder what went wrong. If you click this icon, we're going to drill down. We call it drill down, drilling down ever deeper without ever opening QuickBooks, I might add. Here's the P&L for St. Peter's, January, December, and January, same period last year. So you have a comparison. And you can now begin to look at all the data in here. And what will happen since you're the you're the advisor, all these numbers are hot. You can drill down to the general ledger inside QuickBooks that was inside QuickBooks that we took out to see what's happened here. And so if you come down and you start finding something that's abnormally high, as an example, maybe somebody slotted something wrong or they had a much larger expense or something like that. So you'll scan through this, you'll go, wait a minute, athletic costs are now $13,000. What happened there? So I double click that, and Qvinci will take you and it'll show you the general ledger for that account for that period without ever opening QuickBooks. So review the metrics is all about taking at a top level a look across your clients, if you see any anomalies, and drilling down in there and finding what the sore thumb might be, right? That's step number one. It takes a matter of seconds. You're not going to look all like this. These are all, again, fictitious files, but you start seeing that's something that's like this, that's off 32%, you probably care about that, right? So you've done that. Now, the next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to create those reports to send to the client. And I've showed you some of those reports. And by the way, let me just show you one more report here that's an advisory thing. We call this the break-even analysis. It's not just a break-even. It's a what-if tool. This is the break-even analysis for a client, not a real client, fictitious client. And we do all the math for you, and you've got variable costs, and you've got non-controllable costs. And this is your break-even point. And what you and when you send this to your client, or you with them, you can play what if over here. Well, I think I can control material costs are 15%. I think I can knock about a point off that. I'll make that 14%, and my break-even point goes down. So I can look at reality here, the non-controllable costs and all the other outliers that are smaller than the top 10. And I can play what if over here, and I can paint a likely reality. Man, all I have to do is come in here and control my costs like I think I control my costs, and I'll put my numbers in here, and you can see what's happened. The stuff again, I'll put 40%, sorry, 0.4%. And so you can see what happens as you begin to make these changes. Things begin to go down as you change the values, and you can then monitor this going forward. As an example of an advanced report that you would send to the client as part of your advisory services. And you can include this in your QTAP program because it's available to you. It's one of our templates. So when you start to go, how we set this thing up for you, when you take an account with Qvinci, launching the QTAP program, we set up an account and we help you connect your QuickBooks files. And QuickBooks Online in 30 seconds to connect the QuickBooks Online file to Qvinci and have the data start flowing in so you can do the reporting. When we create your account for you, the next thing you want to do is create reports. And what we do is we do a thing called pinning. These are predefined packages. Let me go back over here to this one. This is going to have a little bit better view for you, a different client site. These are predefined packages that are part of the QTAP program that we suggest you use. And inside each one of these packages are some of the things I've showed you today. P&Ls, balance sheet, statement of cash flows, advanced metrics, KPI score, those kind of things, right, are available. And so these are already, we put these in your account. Before you ever start with us, we put all these advanced QTAP program packages for you in your account. And you simply log in after you connect your file to Qvinci. You simply do this. I select the entity I want. I'm going to report on Bloomhill Dentistry. Qvinci, you've synced the last 7 years of data, let's say. Preview the report, build it, and out comes a package with probably 12 pages in it. 3 PDFs and 2 Excels as an example. Okay? So, I mean, that's reporting. That's all you have to do. Connect the files, select an entity, select the date that you want. I don't want to run that. I'm going to run that as of last year. Come back here, come back to December 2024. Apply the changes. Everything you do from now on will be December 2024 or weekly cutoff if you choose. Download the report. Select an entity, download the report. Select an entity, download the report. Okay? And so this is all predefined for you. Now you can use anything in our gallery that you want to add to it. They're all available to you, the 200 reports I showed you earlier. Create your own. Contact us and we'll create custom reports. If you have a KPI you like that we don't have for some strange reason, you can connect with us and we'll build it for you. But this is producing the reports, sending the reports to the client, okay? And after you have this set up and turned on, and literally you can sync in a 30-minute section, we could sync 10, 20 QuickBooks files, zero files for you. You're ready to report. You're ready to use it right now. Okay, well, the outline, the last leg of the stool is to spread the word. I mean, how do you had your polling question. How do we talk about this? How do we introduce it? Don't have the resources. Well, we have written the interfaces for you. And I'm going to move this over here, show you what they look like in Outlook. There are three types of people you're going to talk to about this. You're going to talk about staff, you can talk to clients, and you want to prospect. Everything I've shown you now is used by other accounting firms, and they use what I'm going to show you to go get new clients, to support existing clients in an interface with their staff. So let's start with the staff one. We've written these emails that we put them when we turn the account on for you and you come to us, we're going to put these in, we're going to give these to you. You'll click them and download and put them in your drafts folder as an example. So this is an example of the template we've written. Of course, you can change it all you want, right? You'll change the text, whatever. But this, we do the explaining for you of what they're about to see and sample financial packages. And again, you're introducing this to your staff. Here's an example of what a package looks like, guys. Here's an example of what, this is the guide for accountants of how to get started with Qvinci. You're already in, you have an account, how they join up, okay? You're introducing Qvinci to the rest of your staff, and here's an example of the scorecard. So this is what a scorecard looks like. So when we're introducing this, right, it shows them the kinds of things that can be delivered to a client. I'll get into that a little bit more when we look at the client one. So we give you a template that you can use out of the chute, put the email address in that you want, put your name, put that in there, put your signature down here, add anything you want to, all kinds of links to discover what Qvinci is that you're using, okay? So you don't have to try to explain everything about Qvinci to your staff. The same thing when you're ready, so you've come online with this, you've got 5 files with this, you're ready to report to a client. Well, we've got a client interfacing email, okay? And so you want to introduce the concept of the client first before you start sending the files to them. Here's an example of that scorecard. And this is an introductory email you send your clients. Hey, Mr. Client, I've got this capability. I can deliver scorecards and insights, et cetera, so forth. Take a look. You send it to the clients, introducing, priming the pump for what they're about to get. And then when you want to prospect, and this is how one of our accounting firms has gone from 200 clients to 900 clients in about 4 years, was this kind of thing. Let's say that you have 12 HVAC companies. Go get yourself an email list of other HVAC companies within a 50-mile radius. Get their email address and send this to them. It introduces what you have when as a provider of accounting services, write whatever you want here. This introduces what your firm can do vis-a-vis advanced reporting. And I'm telling you, that accounting firm I just addressed, this is the sticky that gets their clients to come to the door, to come to them, okay, and want to engage their services, because you're going to deliver something they are not getting anywhere else. So we give you these templates. This is called Spread the Word. We give you these templates in your onboarding process. The onboarding process is less than an hour. And of course, our customer service or our customer success team is always right here to talk to you. So we onboard your first X files. We train you on how to click entities and download. Click and download. We'll show you the gallery, that kind of thing. We show you how to use the spread the word message, the email templates, and you're ready to go. Realistically, I mean, in one day, you can be engaging clients, engaging prospects, and engaging staff. So
Charles, let me
go ahead.
insert something here. Folks, for at least the last 9 years, you've heard about that you need to become the trusted advisor. You need to have a more advisory role with your clients. You need to be able to advise them as to this, that, or the other. And that's exactly what's happened. You've heard about needing to do it, but nobody really has ever taught you how to do it. And they haven't told you what you need to provide. And Qvinci has put together this program to do just that. to teach you how and to teach you what you need to provide as a trusted advisor based on that client's own information, whether that client is a single file or whether that client has 400 or 4,000 files, and how they can look at all that data together, whether they're a franchisee or whether they're a subsidiary or a group of subsidiaries under a common C Corp. It doesn't matter. You can pull all that data. You can pull it from QuickBooks Online. You can pull it from QuickBooks Desktop. You can pull it from Xero. You can pull it from Excel. You can add in information that's not even financial that's important to your client. And this is the only tool that will do that.
Thanks, Bill.
Thanks.
I'm going to leave you with one last thing. I'm going to turn it back to Brad. You are not trying to be a consultant. I have been a turnaround consultant. That's how this got invented. You're not fixing their problems. You're just pointing out where to look. So as an example of one of the things the QTAP program, one of the reports you send is this, what we call the KPI scorecard. And we automatically gen this for you. You just have to click download. We automatically go pull the 5 accounts, the top 5 accounts on the income, COGS, and expenses out of their QuickBooks file, let's say. And we automatically roll up these ratios. And we automatically take their last 12 months of data, and we automatically calculate a 2% low-high swing around that average. And we automatically put their reporting month in here, and we automatically color-code it green if they did better than the high. And if they didn't do well, we automatically make it red. Red is bad. You're just pointing out red. And here's the prior month. And if this month is better than the prior month, you get a check mark. You're trending well. And if it's a red X, you're not trending well. Just find red, fix red. And we also, when you're dealing with plurality, let's say you have a bunch of dental clients. They're not related to each other. They're just all dentists. If I run this for Bloom Hill Dentistry, and I've got a bunch of other dentists, this is the average of all the other dentists. And this is the top 20% of all the other dentists. And all you're doing is clicking this template, downloading it, sending it to the client and say, look, you know, you should take a look at what is not green or black. And compare it to these columns over here. We've done the heavy lifting for you. You're just delivering the business intelligence to them. This is the last leg of the QTAP program, is delivering business intelligence that people want from their trusted advisor. Brad, I'm going to turn it back to you.
All right, thank you very much. And a great presentation, Charles and Murph, for this program. And just want to let everybody know is, this program, we have great resources we provide you. Each one of the links in the deck you're going to get is an ebook explaining exactly how you do this. An overall program guide, basic user guide, marketing kit, and advisory services roadmap, and a Qvinci link to our Qvinci customer success team. And just to let everybody else also know, we're going to be doing, I think, 3 or 4 more of these QB talks over the next 6 or 8 months. And I think we're just going to get deeper and deeper into this topic, because we've just touched the surface today on the differences of what Qvinci can do that QuickBooks can't. We didn't get a chance to go through the drill down from the wellness dashboard all the way to the general ledger, because we only have so much time in a day. But we'll get there. So let's go to polling question number 4 if we can. Do you believe your clients would respond positively if you provided the type of reporting, forecasting, and business intelligence tools discussed in this webinar? Yes or no?
While we're doing that, Charles, can you pull up on your live demo the mapping tool? Somebody said we'd like to see kind of how that mapping tool looks. I actually included that in one of the articles, but I think if you can kind of show them that mapping tool to a standard chart of accounts, that would.
I am there.
All right, go ahead, Charles. You got it.
Okay, so you will create a. We know that the data.
Charles, your screen's not being shared, but your name is on there.
Okay, hold on. Try it again.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay.
Yep.
So you will create a standard chart of accounts, and listen, dioceses don't have income; they have revenue, right? Isn't that a problem? So even if it's a single, so if you're a you'll create a standard chart of accounts in Excel and upload it. It comes in and looks like this. And this is patented, by the way. So in this case, this is a restaurant group. And we have these accounts called beer sales, non-alcohol beverage. That's a child of beer sales. These are my income accounts. And we have all the types in QuickBooks and the non-fi, which is Qvinci. We can blend non-fi with fi. So you'll create a mapping structure that you want, because if you're dealing with 40 entities, your P&L is going to be 4 lines long. It's going to be crazy, right? So you have the structure and you put whitelists in, account numbers, terms, names, whatever, and we scan the incoming files against this structure. As you can see down here in, I think I have it down in here, non-financial, days open per week, staff hours, and table served. How about income per table served in a report? So you can, so this data is going to be, this is the structure is all it is. Let me show you what the mapping tool looks like. Now, Qvinci is going to automatically attempt against that structure and the whitelist you put in to take the incoming QuickBooks files and map them into your structure for reporting. You can run native chart of accounts as it is in the QuickBooks files, or you can run SCOA-based standard chart of accounts, okay? These are all the QuickBooks files out there. These are all the native accounts coming in, and you can see their map. Bakery sales was mapped to food sales. Food sales is an income account. I don't have bakery. I got food. The remote file called it bakery. Qvinci mapped it into bakery. Let's say I find some outliers here, okay? Something's weird. Has anybody ever heard of any weird account names? Yeah, they're all over the place. I'll take pizza sales. I can select one menu or all, pizza sales, pick food sales, pick mapped. It's mapped, it's gonna stay mapped. Even if they change pizza sales to my pizza sales, it's gonna stay mapped. So this is the method we use. I know, because I know we're short on time. This is the method we use to set up a structure, automatically map, and then handle the outliers if there's any outliers out here on a type basis, income, expenses, that kind of thing. If you got clients with thousands of files, they'd use this exact method. Bill?
I think that does it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. We have, let me grab the screen here, Charles, and we'll wrap it up with just I got one more thing to go over. All right. Okay. Thank you very much, Charles and Murph, a great presentation. As I said earlier, we're going to have, I think, 4 more of these, and we're going to dive deeper and deeper into these subjects and really get into it. So then what's the next steps here? If there's something on this program that you like, well, you can click the button in the deck that I'm going to give you and do a private demonstration with one of our expert solution consultants. You can jump right into the pool and do a free trial. And we have a special discount for anyone who signs up with Qvinci in the next 30 days. You can see that a special pricing, basically give it to you for $5 a file, which is like a 90% discount over the next 2 months and 20% off boarding. But please see your solution consultant if you for all the terms and conditions. And we want to be very reasonable. So if you have any particular circumstances, we'll work with you. All right. That kind of wraps up our session for today. We have a little bit of time left. We don't have a lot of time. So, and we have a bunch of questions. So we'll make sure.
Well, I think I've answered most of the questions as we've gone along, and
Okay.
the 4 that are open are all thank yous, basically.
Okay.
So, but Brad, do you have that closing screen about next month?
Um,
Maybe you didn't put that. Okay, folks.
why don't you go ahead and take that?
Yeah.
Murph?
Well, I just want to say that next month, QB Talks is on March 12th, and we'll be talking about e-commerce solutions, and Teresa Slack will join me, and she'll have some interesting input. We did a comparison, and she's got some interesting input about part of the solutions we discussed and what she thinks are the best ones and the one they're using. So I think it'll benefit you to tune in and hear what some other pro advisors think other than myself. I do want to thank both Brad and Charles for being here today. You've had a very informative session, but if you caught it right there at the end, Brad was mentioning the fact that you've got a resource that you can call in. They'll go over it with you, both the tool and the QTAP program. Whatever you're interested in, they'll give you the opportunity to try it for free, and then they'll give you a tremendous discount. And so I think that you really will come to appreciate how spectacular, that's the word I'll use, Qvinci is over any other reporting solution out there that can deal with all these different kinds of files.
Well, thank you, Murph. I think that about wraps us up for today. I just want to remind you, we have an appendix in the deck of a number of slides of other tools we didn't have time to go over today. If you can read about them, if they fit your interest, reach out to Qvinci. Would love to give you a test ride.
And you can download that deck from the chat window, or you'll get an email that'll have a link to the chat as well as the recording.
Thank you very much. I think that ends it. Murph, Charles, and our audience, thank you.